Let me know if you resonate with this. You are an anxious, preoccupied person. Maybe you find yourself in relationships feeling the need to kind of cling or hold on to somebody, even when you know a relationship isn't working. And you may even go so far as to find yourself in the position where your conscious mind, like the logical, rational part of you, knows this person is not changing, this relationship is not working, and you know that it's time to leave and to walk out the door and not look back, but you have a really difficult time actually following through. So if this is you, this is because your subconscious mind is the one really running the show, just like with every other human being on the planet. And your subconscious mind has a whole bunch of things that are stopping you from leaving relationships that are not serving you. So in this video, I'm going to take you through some of those subconscious causes at the root and also what you need to do to actually address those things so you can walk away and not have to look back. And this seriously applies to all things. It doesn't even just apply to like your romantic relationships. This applies to toxic or unhealthy friendships, family relationships where you keep going back to having violated boundaries, even if you know that something is an unhealthy situation, you need to take a step back. And this also applies to things like jobs that aren't working out, wanting to make that career change. The very first thing that I want you to know is that almost every anxious, preoccupied person has a whole bunch of fears related to abandonment. And as long as those fears are really big and very much buried there in the subconscious mind, which they are, then what you're going to see happen time and time again is your conscious mind says, it's time to leave, it's time to go, this isn't working, I'm sick of this unhealthy pattern or behavior. And your subconscious mind says, well, the pain of abandonment is worse than the current pain of the relationship. So the perceived fear of abandonment in the future, if you imagine there's like these levels, right? Or like a teeter-totter, there's more weight on the heavier side that says the pain of abandonment is worse. And so your subconscious mind continues to choose the pain of the relationship because it's a subconscious strategy to avoid the projected pain of abandonment that the mind pushes out into the future. So how you deal with symptom number one or pain point number one here is to actually unpack that abandonment fear and work to reprogram that. So, why would being alone for a period of time or going through a breakup actually be not so bad? So you have to sort of like you have these emotional, imagine that each weight on the teeter-totter, that weight is actually made up of emotional associations, because that's a large part of how the subconscious mind works. And you have to basically tweak the way you perceive these emotional associations. So what I mean by that is the fear of abandonment. Why would breaking up from my partner who's not healthy or in a situationship or whatever the situation is for you, why would that actually not be so bad? What would come out of that that would be okay? I'd go spend a lot more time with friends. I might spend a lot more time with family. I might have the time to really focus on myself and my career. Maybe I would finally start counseling or therapy. Maybe I would finally come to PDS and do all the courses and learn about the relationship to myself. Maybe that would catapult me into the next level of my growth, the next stage of my life. And maybe long term, some of the other benefits of doing those things is that I enrich my family relationships, I enrich my friendships. I'm more understanding of myself and supportive of myself. And then I'm more likely to be attracted to secure relationships. I leave room for healthier relationships to enter on the other side. So the whole point here is you're like packing on all of why the breakup wouldn't be so bad, right? You're seeing all the benefits now and in the future when you take it on some of those benefits now. So for example, if I do that course and I recondition my anxious preoccupied attachment style, I go into future relationships more secure and I'm more likely to have relationship success in the future, right? So benefits of benefits, basically. And then what is the cost of staying? Because you're trying to put that weight on the other side of the teeter-totter where it's like, hey, that cost of staying is actually so painful. So what happens if I just keep sticking out this relationship in 1 year, 5 years, 10 years? How do I feel? Am I constantly, what happens if I keep sticking this relationship up for another 3 or 4 years and then the person leaves me because they're not investing? And then, I've wasted all this time or I've settled for so long in this like stuck mode where I'm not showing up for what I actually want for my life. I'm not fulfilling my relationship potential, my ability to like love at the highest capacity and receive love at the highest capacity. So anyways, point number one, this is part of subconscious reprogramming. Repetition of a lot of emotion relative to different things that we are focusing on is a huge part of reconditioning. So we fire and wire new neural pathways that way. So we're looking at benefits where we originally see more costs, and we're reassociating new emotional feelings with leaving and reassociating new emotional feelings with staying. We're essentially teaching, using our conscious mind, teaching our subconscious mind that, look, although we're in this idea right now, or this stage where we think that staying is better than leaving, when we actually look consciously and feed new information to our subconscious mind, we see that actually staying has a lot more long-term costs and leaving has a lot more long-term benefits. So changing those emotional associations is a huge step one. So I have some exciting news, which is that we are doing $1,000 off of our lifetime membership sale to the Personal Development School, which means you get access to literally everything at PDS for your entire rest of your life. Essentially, that entails all of our different courses you have lifetime access to. I do 4 live webinars a week, every single week. You can access them ongoing, and you get access to all of our daily community events. So I'd love to see you on the other side, and you can access it by using the link in the description box below. Number 2, even reprogramming that fear of abandonment as a whole. So not even just seeing like those fears that are there, but like sometimes we have a whole bunch of stories, right? And usually a lot of stories are sitting in our subconscious mind when we actually work to consciously surface them. And we'll see things like we have beliefs that I'll never find somebody again. I'll never find somebody like XYZ again, who is as much fun, is as caring, is as, whatever it might be. And with any relationship, there's going to be things that are keeping us there if we're not leaving, and yet we know it's unhealthy. So there's going to be things there, right? And usually those things are actually feeding into these limitations you have about your beliefs about yourself in relationships. So you might think, oh, but I'll never find somebody who, does this for me or is this way with me, or, fill in the blanks. You'll know if you sit and reflect on it, you'll know what yours are. And, from that space, we get into, it's like those ideas and those beliefs and those concepts that we are invested in and are so close to us are chaining us to the relationship, right? It's like we're imprisoned by them. And so really surfacing those ideas and then questioning them. Can I really, really know that this is the case? Am I 100% certain about this? These ideas like, I'll be alone forever after this. I'll never find somebody who loves me. I'll never find somebody who understands this thing about me or that thing about me. If you really look, you'll see a lot of them are just false investments in ideas across time. And so we have to question those things, surface them up to the level of the conscious mind and do the work to recondition. We have a whole course that covers all these important components of subconscious reprogramming. There's actually 2, but one is the Emotional Mastery and Belief Reprogramming course. It teaches you all about how to surface and then recondition beliefs. And then we have a course called 21 Ways to Reprogram Your Subconscious Mind. And it actually gives you all of these tools to do this reconditioning. And if you use the coupon code below, not only do you get a 7-day free trial, but if you use the coupon code, you get the first 7 days free, and then you get 25% off. And that's listed in the description box below. And so doing those 2 things together, you get the free, you can literally get through a course in 7 days if you want to. And then you get the coupon code if you want to stay beyond that and check out other courses. So anyways, that's down below. But this is going to be a really important component of this. And then the third thing is, we are attached to needs that we are perceiving this person as meeting. And like I said, there will be things that are keeping you there, but those things are, number 1, those stories and ideas, and then their actual tangible needs, right? So we just covered the stories and ideas one, like, oh, I'll never find somebody who understands this thing about me, right? So there's this idea, but it's not necessarily a reality. Like maybe when you look at your life, you see that 3 other people in your life understand that thing about you, 2 other friends and a family member. So, sometimes we have these false investments, but then we have these real investments that are needs that a person's actually needing. So for example, there's a certain degree of comfort that's provided from a relationship for almost all people, irrespective of attachment style. There's a certain degree of affection or of validation sometimes. Sometimes it can be really invalidating for people if they're with a really unhealthy person too, but there's a certain degree of these things. And what we have to do is list out those things ahead of time and find new outlets for them, new ways of getting those things met. So as you transition out of the relationship, you don't have to deal with that perceived void. And that void isn't so big and strong, right? So if you have a partner who meets a sense of comfort, you have to start beefing up, for lack of a better word, comfort in your life from other sources. so that as you reprogram your stories about yourself, level out those emotional associations, from points 1 and 2, right? Or 2 and 1. I just did them in reverse. But when you level those things out, you'll start to come back to this middle ground of going, okay, like not only am I not investing in these false ideas that are keeping me chained to an unhealthy relationship, but also I am seeing how this person does meet certain needs, but finding new resources or sources for those needs to be met, so that I'm not needing this person as a means of filling those cups, right? And that allows us to basically divest from relationships. It's a huge part of like why we're investing in relationships at a subconscious level to begin with. So if you just dial in on those three major things, that will really help to move the needle. And you have to show up and do that work, right? We actually have to find the sources of comfort. But in steps, you would list out what are the needs this person does meet on the positive side. And then, okay, what are new upgraded strategies for getting these needs met on this side? And by doubling those things together, with tool 1, 2, and 3, you're going to see that you start naturally divesting from unhealthy relationships. And also, there's not this huge fear of leaving. So, I hope this makes sense and gives you some information. I get questions like this nonstop. So, I felt like it was really valuable to sort of dive in here and talk about. And thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe if you're getting value out of this channel. It would mean a lot to me. And I will see you in future videos.